Okay, we are back, and it looks like the stream is working properly. Hello, and welcome to the Sussex Studio Experience. I'm Professor Zinzi, and today we have a special episode. We are going all in on the media trolls and their antics, bringing to light the worst controversies surrounding Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Today, guys, I've had technology problems, and we've been going through it over the last month with all of these controversies. And so every day when I wake up, there are more controversies and more controversies and more controversies. And at this point, I am just over it. And so I am going to try and center myself, and I'm going to give you guys permission to say, some of the things that you feel like saying, because it has been a lot. 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 So I am interrupting the regularly scheduled programming to get to this session. So hopefully, guys, you give me some grace as I start this process, and just allow me today and maybe once weekly, once monthly, haven't decided to begin to do this. So today I have time. Technology was failing me, and I just don't want to do the scheduled program that I had scheduled. I want to address my feelings that are I'm feeling pretty triggered by all the things, and I'm so over the things that have been happening to the Duchess. And I want to be able to just say those things right now. And if you want to join me in saying some of them, in a respectful-ish kind of way, please do so. So, welcome to the Sussex Studio Experience. If you've been here before, I'm Professor Zinzi, and today we have a special program. I interrupted our regularly scheduled programming to get into it. So, first, I want to ground us. So, find a comfortable position, take a deep breath, close your eyes if you can, and inhale good thoughts. Inhale revolutionary thoughts. Inhale warrior thoughts. And as you do that, exhale all the bad that you can. I want us to have an episode today that is going to be empowering, and that's going to allow us to shore ourselves up, because like I said, I'm over it. So I'm going to need a little bit of prayer to get into this. Again, I'm interrupting our regularly scheduled programming to do something different today. So again, as you exhale, let go of any stress or tension. Now we will begin with a short non-denominational prayer. Okay, so may we be guided by wisdom and compassion. May our words bring light and understanding, and may we remain open-hearted and open-minded in all that we do. Amen. All right, so please let the ancestors, let God guide us, and I'm going to ask for forgiveness afterwards, I think, if you guys think I need to do that. So now that we're centered, let us dive right in. Meghan Markle, the Princess and Duchess of Sussex, has been a figure of immense public interest, especially since her marriage to Prince Harry. Her departure from royal duties marked a significant shift. We all watched that, right? Not just for her, but for the public's perception of the monarchy. Meghan's emancipation from the royal family is a story of empowerment and redefining one's identity. And she did not do this without scars. She was being scarred before, during, and after her time on that island. And today I'm just, I normally come with a certain kind of broadcast, and today I just want to do something. I want to express my own frustration and allow you guys to do some of that too. So let's cut to the chase and address some of the biggest lies and controversies head on. I'm thinking Kendrick Lamar, if you will, with respect to the BM. Allegedly, I hate the way you walk. I hate the way that you talk. I hate the way that you address Duchess Meghan. I hate how you try and scar her. I hate how you don't care about her, how you disregard her children, how you make up lies about every single aspect of her life. I am just today over it. So Let's start with a letter that Meghan wrote to one of the Nigerian kings. And it is my considered opinion that Meghan, likely being the person that she is, not only wrote a letter to one of the kings, she likely wrote multiple letters to express her gratitude, right? Thank you so much, Kay, for saying that. She likely wrote a letter to all of the kings, and one of those letters got released to the public. So, yes, because Meghan, we understand, is a kind, gentle, loving person. So let's get to it. This letter was about connecting with her heritage and supporting global causes, but leave it to the trolls to twist it into something sinister. That's all they do. They take, they hear something and they turn it into trash, or they try to. And we are constantly on trying to defend all of these things. I wish that some of them would come to us directly and address us directly. I wish that some of them would come to me and address me directly. Even last night after we had such a beautiful podcast and we were talking about the death of Michelle Obama, First Lady Michelle Obama's mom, Marion Robertson. After that happened, there are trolls getting on, just telling lies again about the Princess Duchess, and I'm sick of it. I'm just so tired of it. So Angela Levin, let's talk about you, right? Let's get to it. Angela once said, Meghan is self-centered and everything is always about her. Really, Angela? This from someone who's built a career obsessively criticizing a woman she doesn't even know. Angela, your relentless bashing crosses the line from critique to character assassination. It's pathetic. Really, how you cling to your outdated stereotypes to fuel your commentary. We are tired of it. We are tired of you using the Duchess in order to profit. We are tired. We've been down this road for 400 years. And for those of us who are in the diaspora, we have literally had our bodies, a lot of us, commodified, and our ancestors' bodies commodified. And you are continuing with that process. And you don't allegedly seem to care what happens to this woman as a result of your criticism. You have seen our princess lose a child. And do you stop? No. Because is she human to you? Do you think that Meghan, the Princess Duchess, is a human being? I don't think that you do. I think that when she came into that family, you saw her as somebody to tear down, allegedly. This is what I've witnessed in the press over and over again, Angela. So I am calling you out. And you know what? Do you want people to bring up your relationship with your mother? We understand because you've expressed and exposed that relationship. I wonder what's behind that. How would it be if the media did a deep dive on that relationship and uncovered a whole lot of things that are in your family history? You don't do that for the Princess Duchess. Instead of doing that, you make up lies. You look at her and say these things, and you got exposed a couple of weeks ago on national television when you thought that you were going on a show to have a kind of cushy relationship with another journalist who works for a certain network, and that journalist called you a troll. And that calling out, or your actions, trolling. And so you are forming and causing people like me, who are normally a certain kind of way, to be the biggest haters. We've seen this before. We've seen this for generations, and we are calling you out. Today, Angela, I got time, right? I got all the time, because it just crossed the line, every single thing, every single day. So let's move on. We can come back, and you guys can say some things if you want, to Piers Morgan. And we know the nickname that's related to BM, British media, that is your nickname and that the squad is giving you, Mr. Morgan, Mr. Member of the BM, the man who couldn't handle being ghosted after a single social interaction with Meghan, the man who allegedly causes a lot of strife in his marriage because of his constant obsession over a person that he had, I've never seen any pictures, one dinner with, or one drink with, not a dinner, one drink with. Get over yourself. What did you think that was? You were a member of the media. Your grudge is so transparent, it is laughable. You called Meghan a ruthless social climber. Projection much? Your constant tirades culminated in you losing your job over the Princess Duchess. You lost your job because you were so obsessed, allegedly, with Meghan, right? We remember that entire episode when you were called out for your toxicity. Mr. Morgan, your obsession is not journalism. It is harassment. Can I get a I am Meghan Markle in the chat? Can I get an I am Meghan Markle in the chat? And if you guys want me to calm down, I can go back to the regularly scheduled programming. I just really, again, today, with all the technical difficulties, I just felt like, you know what, maybe this is an intervention by the ancestors saying that I'm not supposed to be doing that episode, that I should be bringing some other things to light. Do you guys remember Katie Hopkins? Anybody remember Katie Hopkins? Yeah. And Kendrick is also on my mind. That song, I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you dress. Like everything, because everything you do is designed to bring this woman to heal. She is a human being. She is loved. She is adored. She is, when you guys say take her title, what happens in the diaspora? We have 4 kings who come together to say, you know what? Nah, not today. We're all going to do something that is unprecedented, and we're going to give her the title of Princess Royal in these 4 kingdoms and in this whole country of Nigeria. And when you listen to a speech by the First Lady of Nigeria and you turn it into something, you force us to address that thing. Not only does that happen, but then there is also another kind of reckoning when the words are forced to be, when the words are said that they were taken out of context. And so you can't use that. You can't weaponize, even when somebody steps out of line. Even if that happens, there is so much pressure in the diaspora around our love for the princess that we ain't gonna take it no more. We saw something unprecedented happen with the First Lady, and she took her words back via her media person. And we are reclaiming our time. We are taking back the narrative on the Princess Duchess Meghan, because Meghan does not deserve to have that label. You don't get to define her for us. All right, so Miss Katie Hopkins, you called her the biggest hypocrite and accused her of playing the victim. She lost her child. Is she not a victim? Is that child who could have existed not a victim? That life went away. She had to deal with SI, suicidal ideation, in her words, and was extremely depressed. And what did she do to deserve all of this? What did Princess Meghan do to deserve all of this? She existed. She took up space in a place where you didn't think she deserved to be. And just because you don't see her doesn't mean that a whole lot of us see her in the same way that you do. No, because we understand that the way you see her, allegedly, is the same way that you see a lot of us. And we're not taking that. No, not today. So, Katie Hopkins, so your brand is built on spewing venom, allegedly, and controversy for clicks. It's clear your statements are more about generating outrage than offering any constructive critique. But here's the truth. Meghan's strength and resilience shine through despite your best efforts to tear her down. And you know what? We are going to be here to uplift her during this process when you try it. So let's get to the infamous, let me take a breath. Let's get to the infamous Megxit debacle. Remember that? despite Prince Harry himself stating that their leaving the island was a mutual decision. The media painted Meghan as some kind of mastermind behind their departure. Harry's girl, remember that? You guys know the rest of that title. Harry's girl is... do you guys know what that is? Harry's girl is almost straight out of Compton, screamed the Sun. The racism and classism in that headline are unmistakable. It's not just lazy journalism. It is harmful, racist rhetoric aimed at demeaning Meghan. And you know what? You wouldn't understand Compton. You have no idea of the people and the traditions that came out of Compton. You see some movie, you hear some rapper, and you assume that it is what you think it is. No, we live in these spaces. I come from these kinds of spaces, and they are beautiful, majestic, wonderful spaces that have created and built people like Ava DuVernay, that have built people like Kendrick Lamar, one of the greatest lyricists of all time, and so many others. So your view of us, your view of her, doesn't matter, because it is that dismissal, that smug dismissal, that doesn't allow you to understand what real beauty and real freedom is. So you never will. So Harry's girl is almost straight out of Compton. I saw a Denzel Washington movie once that said to a person who was trying to be demeaning, and you dumb enough to think that's an insult, right? You dumb enough, allegedly, to think that calling her straight out of Compton, straight out of Baldwin Hills, straight out of any black neighborhood is an insult. No, it's not. And you don't get to say that. Why don't you just use the language that you want to use when speaking about the Duchess? Why? For fear of losing your career? Because you're only allowed to go so far with respect to Meghan in the media? You can't say that thing that you want to say? What you scared of? You scared of the get back? You probably allegedly should be, because you have seen what the Sussex squad can do when we want to. We have been going through something for about a week, maybe a little more, and we're over that. For most of us, we're beyond that. We are ready to get back to this work. And part of this work, for me, necessitates that I address all the things that you do, because when you do them to one, you do them to all of us. So I am reclaiming my time. I am reclaiming this space. I am reclaiming Meghan in this space as a person to be revered and loved, and letting you know that what your view of her is doesn't matter. And also challenging you in another breath to say it to our faces. You can hide behind this and that, but you would never, ever say what you're saying about Meghan to her face or any of our faces. Even to the trolls, allegedly, that come into this space and say the things that they say. Oh, you wait until after the broadcast to say those things? Why do we do that? What you scared of? When we turn the broadcast off, you wait to spew your venom? How come you don't say it with your full chest? I'm waiting for an answer to that. Hey, everybody, Kay, Quinn, Lola, Mary. I hope you guys are doing okay. Again, I'm just like on one today, so I will ask for forgiveness rather than asking for permission today. So we're going to keep going. And how about the accusation? Wait 1 second. Another gem from you guys, the tabloids. The ridiculous claim. Oh gosh. Are you guys ready? Because take a breath. Because this next one, it just defies everything. And it doesn't. Because we've seen it with other people. Like Michelle Obama. We've seen this before. So take a deep breath before we say what the next claim is. It's disgusting. Another one of the things that you decide to create with your brilliant minds, right, is that the claim that Meghan faked her pregnancies. Yes, guys, you heard that right. This conspiracy theory is absurd, and it shows how far some people will go to decredit and dehumanize. For those who perpetuate this lie, let's be clear. You're engaging in a form of violence against women by questioning their pregnancies. A troll last night, and this is possibly what set me off, right? That this troll came into the space and started talking trash about that. First of all, she had to, in the same way as Michelle Obama and President Obama, they go through a kind of scrutiny when they decide to enter into families. There was no question of who she was. There's no question of her age. There's no question of her body and its ability to do things. Right? When you have to ask permission to marry someone, that permission comes with some other things too. So we understand, and it's just tiring. I'm so sick of Black women in particular being criticized around their bodies. The same lie was told about Michelle Obama and her pregnancies, Serena Williams and her pregnancies. It's disgusting, quite frankly, that she is this age. If she's 105, tell me why she looks 25. Is black don't crack? Is that thing really that strong that at that age she could you're saying that she's this age, and the troll said that she'd had a hysterectomy. For what? And how would you know? You've been in her medical records. Are you her OBGYN? What information do you have that Meghan doesn't have about her own body, allegedly? And why do you wait until I shut down the chat to start talking noise? How come you don't do it in the chat? Go for it. We got time. I got time today, guys. So yeah, the accusations that Meghan faked her pregnancies. Yeah, and that, oh, look at this thing and how the uterus dropped. Oh, that, really? So if she was faking it, you're telling me, I've seen them in the science centers where they have men put on one of these prosthetics to walk around in the way that pregnant women have to walk around as if they're carrying a baby. You're telling me that if someone is going to fake a pregnancy, that they're going to do it with something that's just going to fall? Oh, give me a break. Give me a break. And so you're projecting. Is that what you did? What are you trying to project onto her? You're projecting who you are. When you spew this filth and this violence, it is you who is filthy and violent. You can't touch her. And you know what? We rise to protect her. So bring it on. Nobody's taking me up on it, trolls? No one in the chat wants this. I see what you guys, please like the video if you do today, because I get so much hate from these I don't know what to name them. I get so much hate around and so many dislikes, and I'm sure by me saying this, they're clicking it right now, but they're not going to be bold enough to come out and say how you really feel. Tell me how you really feel. She can't be pregnant? So you're saying that Prince Harry, with all the billions of women in the planet that he could have married, he would choose to marry one who is deficient? We all know, and I'm not saying that she's deficient if she's unable to bear children, right? No, that's not what I mean. But I'm saying, you're telling me she's been accused of being so many things. That Prince Harry, with all the women, she had to be excellent in order to get into that family. She had to not only be brilliant, not only be classy, to be able to redefine. She was so much so that she caused a lot of controversy. Like, look what you have is what it looks like to me. Oh, he's got a beautiful, he's got a brilliant, he's got the prize. I watch Suits, allegedly. I want one of those. Maybe, right? So we understand that she had to be excellent to get into that family. And that if she wasn't, she wouldn't be there. And we also understand that allegedly there's so much jealousy that happens inside of that family that people end up, if they outshine the persons who are supposed to be getting the shine, then sorry, I have two microphones here. They are run out of the monarchy. We saw what happened with respect to Princess Diana, and it has been alleged that she had to leave because she was more popular. You know, if you want to be more popular, grow a new personality, allegedly. Do some work. Make people do some things that people respect and revere if you want people to love you like they love her. They don't love her like that because just because she is. She is who she is because of what she embraces and what she does. So that accusation really just like burns me. That conspiracy. So for those who perpetuate that lie, dot, dot, dot. The next one. And how about the accusation that Meghan is a manipulative gold digger who married Harry for his money and status? Harry's family had money and status. Harry was running around allegedly with holes in his shoes. Harry was running around with clothes that were unpressed. Harry couldn't even stand up in his whole apartment. Harry was not even, like, we could make a whole list of the things that Harry did not have, the resources that he did not have, and how Meghan came in. We did the whole black wife effect and saw that glow up. We saw him, and I shop at TJ Maxx. We saw him shopping at TK Maxx. Why was he running around with holes in his shoes and looking unkempt? Why was he running around having to purchase things on sale because of perhaps not having the budget? Why was he neglected and someone else in the family given everything? And why does he look so different now? Why does he look like the sexiest man on the planet, the sexiest man alive, if you will, now? And he didn't look that way because he cares for himself, and because he's cared for, and because he's loved. So we see that glow up. That glow up doesn't happen just because I want you to look good next to me. No. That glow up happens out of love. It's not just the physical transformation with him being super fit. It's also the glow up that he gets from standing next to the person that he loves, being with the children that he loves, and us watching and literally seeing him looking like gold. He looks like gold now. And before before he looked it pretty ordinary. And because of the glow up of love, because of the love the Princess Duchess gave him and showed him that she loved him by saying, hey babe, you know what? I got you. We got us, right? So she had money. She was self-made. She had been on Suits and had talked about the 100th episode and wanting to be able to do something different. What comes next? She pivoted. She built that. She created, you have parents that do this and that. Mommy is a former makeup artist. Mom is a yoga instructor. Mom is a therapist / social worker. And my dad worked as a light designer on a set. So he did all this lighting. Yeah, you walked those aisles with your dad. You walked those aisles with your mom. And at the same time, how many children do the same thing and don't do the same thing as she did? We understand that there is an inherent goodness, an inherent person who wants to do the work and who has done the work, and we see it. Because how many people are in Hollywood and in other spaces who have these opportunities and choose not to, right? So we saw that accusation of her being a gold digger when she was the one bringing the coins. She brought the coins and gave them, invested some into Prince Harry. And look at him now, right? So Meghan's successful career and independent wealth long before she met Harry. It's 2024, people. Women can be successful and wealthy in their own right. Meghan's achievements stand tall without the need for a royal title, though she has two. And one of them was given by 4 different kings with old monarchies. So let's get to the biggest hater, one of them, Dan Wooten, Dan Wooten, right? So another critic. What else does he do other than make his money off of critiquing allegedly the Duchess? He loves to spread sensationalist stories like claiming Meghan snubbed the Queen by not attending an event, conveniently omitting her legitimate reasons. Dan, your narrative is as thin as your journalistic integrity. It is as thin as your wallet right now because of allegedly of all the opportunities that you have lost. Remember Dan Wooten standing remember him standing at the memorial and how he had himself filmed so that he was looking a certain way, right? And what do you accuse her of? That's a sensationalist story if I've ever seen one. Falsifying those kinds of things. It's clear your goal is to stir up, the things that the BM, the British media, and the other word for BM, right, stands for. That's what you do. And it's clear that your goal is not to report facts. Your goal is to continue to make money off of this woman. The scrutiny of Meghan's fashion choices is another favorite pastime of the trolls. They criticize her for holding her. Remember the baby bump? Remember? She's literally, there's skin and flesh, a bit of flesh, not a whole lot, between her and her child, as she's holding her bump. How do you criticize that? Please tell me. How does one criticize? Sorry, guys. How does one criticize? 1 second. Can you hear me? Okay, sorry. How does one criticize a woman holding her baby bump? You are literally, your baby is not a bump. It is in a mound, in the shape of a mound, as it is moving around inside of your body. And there is a thin layer of an amniotic sac, some flesh, and some water that is not much water that's separate. You can touch your baby's elbow. You can often feel them kick you. You can feel your baby being, so it's not a bump. It is your baby. You're holding, you're massaging, you're loving on your child as you are holding on to your body that is holding your child. And so how does one, think of it, you're getting criticized for loving on your child. Give me a break. It's natural and it's a loving gesture that gets passed on to the child. The child is feeling you literally caressing them. Just as you're feeling that child elbowing you and kicking you and doing whatever else, those things that they're twirling and changing position, the child is also feeling a connection between you and your child. And so imagine if we'd never seen the Duchess hold her child inside of her womb. How do we criticize her for that? Because there are no bounds. There are no bounds that people will stay inside of with respect to the Duchess. They are always going to come for her no matter what. Right? So she's providing a natural loving gesture. Meanwhile, when other royals do the same, it's celebrated. The double standard is glaring and speaks volumes about the underlying, and I'm going to say biases, but we know there are other words that we can use to describe these things. Meghan has also been labeled a diva and difficult to work with. For emails? Really? Yeah, countless, that's all you got? Is somebody sending an email that most people, if you were sleeping at that time, you wouldn't be checking it? Give me a break. So she's a diva for working hard, and she's been labeled difficult to work with. Yet the countless testimonies from people who've worked with her describe her as professional, kind, dedicated, loyal. These negative labels are often used to undermine successful women, and Meghan is no exception. BM media, your attempts to diminish her character are transparent and, quite frankly, they are pathetic. So we can keep going, right? We can keep going because your bounds, your criticism knows no bounds, right? So what else has she done? She's existed. So let's address next. Let's think. The next thing, the rift between Harry and his family that the Duchess apparently or allegedly caused. Harry is a grown, blank man, right? And so this narrative has been debunked numerous times. There were times when Harry, before Meghan, talked about the possibility of leaving the UK and having a different kind of life. And attacking his wife would make him thinking about his own mother and how that ended, how tragically that ended, would cause any person of conscience just about to do the same thing or at least consider it. So yeah, and she happened to be a California girl. She happened to be brilliant. She happened to be accomplished. She could save them if they needed to leave, and she did, and he saved her right back. So the rift that Meghan, of course, caused between Harry and his family. This narrative has been debunked so many times, and of course it also persists because they can't let go of anything, like even when it's debunked. Oh no! But wait! We've got another angle. Wait! We need another headline. Let's run the story again and again and again. Mary Mann says, Princess Meghan has always been an activist who spoke out against racism. Hear, hear. I heard that story was going to come out. Kate was a girl who worked on a boat when Meghan had a very successful acting career and was a UN rep. So, when that story's about to come out, things just went wild, right? And so what do? Oh, we have this story, this salacious story that may come out about another person. We're going to project those actions from the Duchess onto someone else. But you know what? The evidence exists. And so whether we see it in our lifetime, some of us may see the evidence in our lifetimes. And at the same time, if we're no longer here, the evidence is still there. It will come out. So our children, our grandchildren will see what was really going on that boat and who was really doing the yachting. And we understand that our Duchess was not doing any of those things. So, so back to this. So Harry has no agency. Harry cannot think for himself. This mic sounds like it's reverberating a little bit. So Harry apparently cannot think for himself and needs for Meghan to make decisions around their marriage. How many of us believe that? So we understand that would maybe be what you guys would be feeling, that you don't have partners that are as brilliant, as kind, as composed. But this is a blatant attempt, another blatant attempt in the long line of blatant attempts to paint Meghan as some kind of villain. So Harry has been the favorite. You're taking our favorite. You didn't give him any reason to stay. How can you complain about Harry leaving the island when clearly you're not giving him a reason to stay? It doesn't make any sense to me. Does it make any sense to you guys? What was the reason for Harry to stay? His wife had a miscarriage. His wife was depressed. His wife was experiencing suicidal ideation. And what can be the end result of a person experiencing suicidal ideation? We've seen the results of that happen to some of us people in our own lives and some of us people in the media or who are celebrities. We've seen it. Do you think that, what would have happened to Harry the man if his wife had suffered in that way? I can't imagine. And so what did he do? His love for his wife had to say, you know what? This isn't going to stop. It's only getting worse. What can we do? Let's get out of here. And that's exactly what happened. She rescued him and he rescued her right back. So then, let's see, what are some of the other controversies? Oh, this is a controversy. This is a controversy over Meghan's advocacy for mental health. When she spoke openly about her struggles which likely saved the lives of other people. When she dared to say anything about her own life and her own struggles, she was accused of attention seeking. This accusation is not only cruel, but deeply harmful, as it discourages people who are having these episodes from seeking help. She set a light on it. She shined a light on mental health challenges, and she allowed people to see that it does not stay in that space, that it goes beyond these spaces, and it affects people of all socioeconomic backgrounds. It affects princesses, if you will. And so when she did that, she allowed other people to come forward and say that they were struggling with the same thing. So that's another accusation, right? Meghan also, to those who criticized Meghan for coming forth about her mental health struggles, let me just say, allegedly, your ignorance is definitely showing. I'm not going to wish the same trials upon you and your loved ones, because that just is not who I am. But I will say your ignorance is showing. And then what's something else? Meghan's charitable endeavors, they've been unfairly scrutinized. Her work with Together, our community cookbook, I have that cookbook. It's a beautiful cookbook. And it was also criticized, right? Remember the things that they said about the people in the community kitchen. Some of them happen to be Muslim. So what can we say about Muslims? What is the narrative that happens around Muslims all too often? So this is what they did. The impact of Meghan and the Community Kitchens project, it speaks for itself. And with those who were affected by the Grenfell Tower fire, she actually did something to bring the community together, and that was criticized. Feeding people, putting together a project that's going to cause money to come into that community. And then what do we see a couple of years later? Oh, the other, in quotation marks, royals show up, and their treatment is completely different. So when they do it, it's positive. When she does it, then let's find an angle, right? So I mean, it just doesn't stop. So another outrageous criticism beyond all of these things. Meghan forced Harry to step down from his military roles. Who just inherited the head of platoon recently over there? Was it Harry? It was, guess who's going to be taking on this honor? Didn't make any sense to me that out of all the troops in the UK, that the brother allegedly, and not allegedly, but allegedly would be placed as head over Harry's platoon. That was some epic shade. That whole thing, it was not well done. Why would you want that? Why would you want to be the head of your brother's platoon or his troops? Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So she forced him to step down. Harry created a whole Invictus Games, and people are saying, I've heard, that those games are being targeted, and that there is to be, or people want there to be, a reclamation of something that never belonged to them. So, we see countries all over the world, including one they just left, where she was honored tremendously. Her other country of Nigeria, because she's a forever princess of this country, to me, in my mind. But we also see Nigeria and even the UK. We want the games, we want the games, we want the games. What is the spirit of the games? Do we want the games to be placed into these spaces if what remains after the games close, after the closing ceremonies, is a woman that is left to mourn, a woman that is left and she's impacted in such a negative way that she has to seek potentially therapy based on all of the headlines that you would write? Are you giving her a reason? Are you giving them a reason to hold the games in that country? I think all they want is to be simply left alone. to live and to do the games and to do other charitable work and to have a life with their beautiful children and with their mother or with her mom while she exists on this earth. To be a woman, to be a mother, to be a wife, to be a philanthropist. You're not giving her anything that would allow her to exist. So why would they want to have the games there? I'm going to persecute you. You're persecuting her when she's in another country. Make it make sense. And you want the games. Oh, we'll pay. What are you getting us to believe in? We see you. Our lying eyes, we see you. And you're telling us, oh, we want the gift for what? So that your media can profit off of cannibalizing this woman? This princess, this duchess that you're denying humanity to? Why would, and Harry would need support by his partner when the games are happening. Do you think he's going to be able to thrive if his wife is under assault? I think not. You treat my wife and family this way. You call my kids primates, or at least my son when he's born. And at the same time, you put my brother allegedly as head over the troops that I belong to. And I do Wounded Warrior games. Why would I bring them to you so that you can continue to do and walk in that same path, right? What was her career before marrying Willie? Did she work in her parents' shop? I heard she worked as a retail person, right? In a retail store at one time. If you know, put it in the chat. You guys aren't saying much. Does anybody else have anything to say today? You guys can see I am clearly on one, right? So, another one. One of the most insidious lies that has been told about the Duchess is that she is not truly black. And there are lots of reasons that people try and invalidate her racial ethnic makeup, right? For their own purposes. So when you want to attack her, then you call her blood ethnic. And when you want to diminish her ancestry, then you say, oh, she's not really black. Can you guys just stick to one thing? She is biracial. In the United States of America, we had this rule for hundreds of years. And it clearly is still in existence, called the one-drop rule. And the one-drop rule meant that if you had any African ancestry that they could see in the last X amount of generations, then you were black. And so how did they divide up that thing for generations? After African Americans got us free, right? There was the designation of mulatto. So no matter what you looked like, the census would always reflect that at certain points in your history, and I've done my family's history, when I go back to 1870 in the census, I see the letter M on my family. What does that tell me? That tells me that there was a lot of shenanigans going on in my own family's history that led to us not having a designation of B for black or W for white. So was my great-grandfather not black? He was owned. At what point did that stop? When his mom was 14 and pregnant by the person who owned the entire plantation, including people, he was put on a spreadsheet in an accounting ledger that said, we own him. Not even named. Woman and child. 9 months, 3 months, whatever that age is, right? So when did that stop? You tell me. So the attack is coming on her African ancestry. So when you're experiencing these things, her experience, once you find out or once that you see it, is definitely over the last 8 years been a black experience. and not a positive one. You've intentionally created an atmosphere around her, around the princess, so that she understands what her ancestors felt like. Because she feels it every day. All she has to do is open up anything in the media and she will see her name right there. I don't care if it's a newspaper in India, allegedly. I don't care if it's in the UK, if it's in Australia, if it's in Nigeria. She's going to see a negative headline reminding her that this is what people think about her. So then, after discrediting her identity and trying to erase her and simultaneously trying to exotify her, they moved on to exploiting her royal status, saying that that's what she was doing for personal gain. They argue that her deals with Netflix and Spotify are attempts to commercialize her royal connection. You guys took the HRH designation was removed. She will always have her crest, unless by some edict, right? But now she will always be forever and ever a princess. So if she stops using that title of Duchess, which is legally her name, should she start using just the title of princess? Well, you try to delegitimize that title too. But you forget that you need Nigeria for oil and other things, right? For your other exploits. So she's exploiting her royal status for personal gain. I saw during her launch of American Riviera Orchard, the UK, the British royal family, putting their jams out. Also, like, oh, look at us, trying to, clout chase on what the Duchess was doing. We saw it, and they got called out for it. So critics offer that her deals with Netflix and Spotify are attempts to commercialize her royal connection. Who was carrying the bags of cash with millions of dollars in them? Do you guys remember that? She has to do the work for it. Yes, yet these ventures allow her to share important stories and advocate for causes she believes in. It's called using your platform. We see it even with the housewives on these shows. We see, and I think Candy is a G at it. Like, she uses her platform and has used her platform to monetize and to live a certain lifestyle. Harry didn't have the money that William had. Meghan had some of her own, and when they found freedom, when they got out of there, they needed to find ways to make money, right? To live. Because security is not cheap. How much do you think security for them costs in the United States and as they travel? Just that alone, right? So then the media often pits Meghan against other royals, particularly Catherine, as a kind of rivalry. And, they will always say things often like, Catherine is the popular royal. I don't think that Meghan cares. She left. You guys care about the popularity. She doesn't. So then, another lie that Meghan is accused of this is a big one, abandoning her papa. We talked a bit about that last night with respect to the death of Marion Robinson, right? So that whole episode was not done well. It was not well done. You have a person who is living in Mexico. The media does whatever it can to discover this person who doesn't necessarily want to be discovered, and then they use whatever means they can to try and lure him to do things that they want him to do, so that allegedly they can stop a wedding. Thank you so much, Mary Man, for all your comments. Why does Meghan have to be perfect? I can't see the rest. I'm sorry. So if you want to so we saw that happen in real time. And so with the goal that a lot of people allege of stopping a wedding, of stopping the royal wedding between Harry and Meghan. Because if Thomas is sick, then she's going to have to leave to come back to the UK in order to make sure he's okay. Didn't work. She wrote letters, she tried to talk to him, they had him posing in tailor shops and doing all of these other things. And then there was a turn in his tone after the wedding. There was a complete tone, and a lot of things that he said were interpreted as anti-Meghan, right? So we had that. Are we still live? Because it doesn't look like. Let me see. Let me check. So we had that happen. Channel. Why is it saying upcoming? So if you guys can hear me, can someone please put a 1 in the chat? Because I'm looking at the broadcast and it's saying upcoming, so I don't know why that is. Okay, I see it now. I see it. Okay. So just wanted to double check that we are still alive. So we had, her dad, there was a turn. I think that any one of us would argue credibly that there was a turn in Thomas Markle's words around his daughter. And not only did we see Thomas Markle allegedly show up and speak in a different way about his daughter, in a way unbecoming of a father, a lot of people would say, we also saw the other two come out, his other children that from a previous marriage come out and start saying really, really terrible things about the Duchess, right? So Mary says, why does Meghan have to be perfect when... Yeah, that's so true. She doesn't, right? Because none of us are. And if we dug into any of their backgrounds, we would see the same thing playing out in their lives. They are not perfect. And Meghan also has to be a kind of perfect, and she couldn't be, because there will always be an equal and opposite criticism that they could have about her, around her personhood, that they would engage in if she did the other thing. So, they've been swapping these things for a long time. And so again, we had her papa coming out in the media saying all of these terrible things. What do you say? Like, how do you internalize that your father is going on these platforms, and a lot of them allegedly pay for him to come on the platform to malign you? You just got married, you're in love, and at the same time, another part of your life is falling apart. Your relationship with your dad will never be the same. There's a huge rupture. Do you try and repair that rupture? Or do you try and move on from it? Because it wasn't just one assault. It was a constant barrage. And he was constantly booked and booked and booked on all of these UK, Australian talk shows that allegedly were paying him to say things. And then he lost his voice. He lost his ability, I believe, to talk, right? And so when he lost his ability to talk, I don't know if there was a time of reflection, but I know that there was also an attempt perhaps to sue, because California, we have a grandparents' law that says that if you have a relationship with your grandchildren, your kids cannot stop that relationship. Problem is, when you're trying to have a relationship with your grandchildren, it's not valid if you've never had one with them. So you cannot force the courts or ask the courts, when you petition the courts, let me say it that way. When you petition the courts, they are going to consider your relationship with your child, and more specifically with your grandchildren. If no relationship exists, then the child is not going to be seen as being harmed, because they don't know you like that. And you're talking about babies, and you want access to these babies. You want access to these babies. Perhaps there's some part of it that is a good reason you want to know your grandkids. But at the same time, what have you been spewing about their mother in the media? Are you going to I think questions would have to be asked about, are you going to use these kiddos for gain, allegedly? Because if this is what you've been doing, if this is how you've been making your money by targeting your daughter, by speaking against your daughter, when you were invited to be at that whole wedding in front of a billion or more people to walk her down the aisle, and you would forever have been changed by that moment. And then the things that maybe you want, the deals that you want, you wouldn't have to go out and crucify your daughter to get the monies that you want, right? So you would have had them. And so instead of doing that, maybe it was your anxiety, maybe whatever it was, maybe you made a deal with the devil, allegedly, that said you can't do this. By you doing these things, you're agreeing not to. And so the kid, Meghan is trying to reconcile, or before it's broken, before the rupture's complete, to figure out what's happening with you, Dad. I want to know that you're okay. I'm not stopping my wedding, but I also want to know that you're okay. And what comes? Nothing. There's no clear response to your daughter, even after the heart attack happens. Whether people are saying, oh, you had a heart attack, you have to stop the wedding. Your dad had a heart attack. What kind of person's going to have a wedding on the other side of the world, 9 hours from California, or in time difference, often, right, to 10, depending on whether or not we are in daylight savings time? What kind of person's not going to see their dad, right? And so she continues with her wedding, and that relationship is forever changed. Do you go on TV and plead in a way that, why would you, though, go on TV to plead about your relationship with your daughter that you want? Why wouldn't you address her? You have her phone number. You have ways of contacting her. This is not what you do. You keep going on these shows, and perhaps you're feeling more and more desperate, allegedly, around the situation with respect to her. Okay, like, I've done this bad thing, or this is how I'm being seen. I'm being villainized also at the same time. So what do? Right? You can't hear me? Beverly, you can't hear me? Can you guys hear? Can someone put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me, or say I can hear you or I can't hear you? I don't see anything coming in the chat. Can someone please put a 1 in the chat? Maybe a couple of people put a 1 in the chat so I can see if you can hear me. Because I've heard that from, you're the second person who said that, but I'm not seeing a 1. So if you can hear me, please put a 1 in the chat. Oh no. So I have the volume all the way on 10. Dumela. Can you guys hear me? Please someone say, we are sending prayers to you in South Africa. No lutando. We're hoping that things are going okay. Can you guys hear me? I can switch microphone. You can hear me. Okay. So Beverly's saying she's having a hard time hearing me. That's not the case. I've got 2 microphones here right now. So I know you're probably hearing some reverberations from the other one. Maybe I should try and turn that one off. Are you hearing a lot of noise around this? Like, I'm touching the other mic right now. Sorry. Yeah, that one's harder to get away from. Let me just put it, out of the way. Is that better? So, yeah, Dumela. So we've been dealing with all of these things that have been happening in this Sussex space. And as a result, a lot of us, including myself, are feeling a kind of way. And I had a whole different, I'm going to change the pictures. I'm sorry, I haven't. This is Meghan on the soap opera General Hospital that she actually went on. Her father was a lighting director, I think, on the show. He definitely worked in lighting. This is the letter. We haven't gotten into that. So the cooking show for Netflix, before I get back to the read, the cooking show for Netflix, we understand that our Duchess had the TIG and that she was a lifestyle blogger for a long time. You're attacking that. We understand that every single episode that's going to be put out on Netflix of the show that is being produced is going to be attacked. And we also understand that the princess makes lots of money for Netflix, or they wouldn't be paying her to do a whole show. Her and her husband. $100 million deal is nothing to sneeze at, right? And so Harry is going to be bringing polo to a whole new set of kids and a whole new set of people. That I think that polo is going to turn into what Formula One has turned into, thanks to Harry. And that's not $100 million. That is going to be worth billions of dollars. The transformation in people's lives based on learning, understanding, watching, and engaging in this sport, however they engage in it via Netflix. Netflix knows what happened with Formula One. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for saying that. Hey, and pal. Yeah, Netflix understands what happened to Formula One. And if you think Netflix isn't likely going to get involved in branding and all kinds of other things and get that money in the same, like they might not have been there doing that with Formula One, but we see in Las Vegas, which is not far from where I am, they have had the Formula Ones, there, the races there, shut down the whole strip for all of that, and made tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars off of Formula One. Formula One was a niche kind of sport. It ain't niche no more. Thanks to Netflix, Formula One ain't niche no more. You've got super celebrity stars that have come out of that. Watch Harry smoke as Harry introduces, along with Netflix, the sport of polo to a whole new. 100 million ain't gonna be enough to cover anything, because he is going to be helping Netflix to make $1 billion. And not only that, the people who are playing polo, especially the people who are going to be new to the sport, are gonna get rich. And Black English intended, they gonna get rich. So, Joyce Anderson, good afternoon. Jelaine, good afternoon. Yes, so Harry is gonna help people get that money, right? And not only that, he's gonna help them live a healthier lifestyle. He's gonna shine a light on the sport. The sport will also be able to pay dividends to other charities and other endeavors. And you will see cities rise, like Las Vegas, for weekends or week-long events. And the cities are also going to be able to benefit. So if they're paying Harry and Meghan $100 million for a deal, what you think they getting out of this thing? What y'all think? I think they understand that, they're giving Harry and Meghan 5 or 10% of what their expected returns are going to be. We see every show that they put on what happens. People, like grocery stores, are going to be sold out of whatever things that Meghan is making that week. If it's smoked salmon with arugula and beets, watch out at the grocery store, because you're not going to be able to get any that week and maybe for a couple of weeks afterwards. They understand the power of the prince and princess, right? They understand the power of Harry. They understand the power of Meghan, and they are putting their money where their mouth is. They've seen it happen before. So why would they not invest in Meghan and Harry? Even like this podcast and other spaces, the UK media, who I am, or the British media, the BM media, right? BM intended, the BMBM. They understand that they have been able to monetize off of the princess and make their whole livings. People have whole hate channels dedicated to them, and what do? They create controversy, they create lies, allegedly, and the bigger the lie, the more people that are gonna watch. Muhammad Ali wasn't the most hated man in the United States for no reason. They sold plenty newspapers off Muhammad Ali. They sold plenty newspapers off of questioning Barack Obama's citizenship. They made plenty broadcasts over questioning Barack Obama's birth certificate. And they ate off of Michelle Obama's body and the lies they told about her body. They ate off of President Obama's birth certificate for years. A person got elected to the White House after President Obama based on questioning his birth certificate. And what did he do after that? He started saying, you know what? Okay, you put your birth certificate out there. Now, how'd you get into this Ivy League school? How'd you get into Columbia? How'd you get into Harvard Law? President Obama did not only get into Harvard Law. He had a whole TV show about him, starring Blair Underwood, about his life at Harvard Law. Before he was elected president, before he was even on the radar, based on him being the editor of the Harvard Review. And that is a blind test that you take, a writing exam, to see if you have the bones. It's not something that's not unscrutinized. People who want to do that, they submit writing, and they're writing without a name, and their writing is reviewed, and the person who gets the best review gets that. So how he get in? How did he get to be the head of the Harvard Law Review? Answer that question. Why was Blair Underwood making a whole TV show about President Obama's life when President Obama was a younger person? Tell me that, right? Because people automatically think it's okay to question whether or not certain people have talents, certain people are desired, certain people can have a certain kind of mental capacity. Nolutando says, we had quiet elections in South Africa on the 29th May. Now we pray that those who did not win are not going to incite violence. It's being reported in the news that there's some controversy happening, and the fact that the ANC didn't win, and even some questions about apartheid. So hopefully everything stays within a certain range, and you guys are going to be safe over there, and there's not going to be, the need for toy dancing, if you will, in the streets, right? Like you, Onolotanda, we pray that those who did not win are not going to incite violence, and we pray that those who have won are going to continue in the vein that the country's been on, at least in certain respects, around people having a certain kind of freedom. I mean, that's my prayer, right? So Nolutando says, I am Meghan Markle, proud of being a strong woman, proud mother, wife, and not prepared to be anyone's doormat. Amen. Preach, right? Preach. Because that is what, in large part, in my opinion, my considered opinion, because this ain't no new thing. Since 2016, I've been on this journey. This ain't no new thing. The podcast may be new, but those of us on this journey with the Princess Duchess, this ain't new. We have been dealing with the violence in the press since 2016, and that is no small feat. Let's see. Joyce says, Oprah was monetized as well. I saw many references to Fat Oprah, lots of different shows. Yeah, people like to, and she's still being harmed in the press. Oprah is. I believe I saw something about her being on Ozempic. Himpal says, I think you've answered my question. These TBMs should be pitied. I stopped watching TV about 4 years ago and only stick to what Harry and Meghan are doing. I will always support them. Yes, because we believe our lying eyes. You don't get to create a narrative about a person who has a record. We know what her record is. And we've seen you attack everything. You will hold up the people from Thomas Markle's side of the family, and you will demean her mother, Doria, a social worker, a yoga instructor, a makeup artist, a woman who was taking care of her child, who put her in the best schools, who loved her and supported her in being a brilliant, cultured, lovely woman. But you will hold up other people to say, oh, look at them. This is how. They wasn't riding with her anyway, that other family. They were not. And if they divorced it when Meghan was 2, the relationship broke apart or started breaking when probably she was 1 or even before. So they didn't live together as a family for long. Although I understand that last Thanksgiving, before she married Prince Harry, that the family came together. Because I remember specifically, and correct me if I'm wrong, Thomas saying that Harry was a conservative. I believe I remember that. So, Joyce Anderson says, I am Meghan Markle. I see something from Henpal, says top chat. So, I am Meghan Markle. We have been riding
with the prince. I mean, like, for those of us who love Prince Harry, we've been riding with him for a lot longer than that. We have had hopes and dreams for, by, and about Prince Harry since he was a little fella. However, whatever age we are, as soon as we knew him, whether we're 13 and we can imagine ourselves walking with him, or 23 and we see him in the media and how he's being forced to walk behind that coffin, if you will, or 33 and we see him as a son of ours, or 43, same thing, he could be our kid, or 53 and we see, like, why are they doing that to that baby? I think for as long as I've been alive, I remember Princess Diana just about existing on this planet, and her children almost as long as I've been alive, right? So, because a lot of us watched that wedding. Some people stayed up all night. I'm glad you're back, Mary. I'm glad you're back. Some of us stayed up all night watching the wedding, and then, the reality comes into being. You jealous? Like, in this country, I think that I just don't understand why I want to say Prince Charles, why King Charles III wanted to be so popular. Is it because of his, perhaps, of him allegedly being neglected by his mom, and so you have that need for attention, and that attention feels like a kind of affection? So you can't outshine me, Princess Diana. And then taking the security was just beyond the pale. You understood, and the monarchy understood, and the UK understood how popular she was and how paparazzi liked to follow her. And then when she was no longer with us, there was this whole cry of never again. Never again. We will protect those boys. We will do, you don't see flowers piled up the size of buildings if people don't care. Unless they're doing what Kendrick says, right? This is for clicks, even though at that time clicks and likes, was that a kind of clout, throwing flowers? Oh, thank you so much, Annabelle. Yeah. Thank you so much. That means so much. Wow, I'm overwhelmed. Thank you for showing support of the channel. We'll be able to get a new microphone if we get a few more of those, right? Love that one. So we witnessed that piling up of flowers, and we believed you when you said never again with respect to these children. And Harry is now a man, and with children of his own. You know how his mother went. You see his wife being mistreated in the media, and you take his security. What is that? A middle finger to him? That's what it feels like. We understand, the Obama children and the children of presidents are protected over their entire lifetime for a reason. The children of presidents are protected for a reason. And so we understand. We saw the car chase that was also, there's another one. The car chase in New York. Oh, it wasn't a car chase. Nothing happened to them. That's not what happened. They lied for an entire year. And then photographic evidence is out there. Businesses have cameras. People own Ring doorbell cameras and other cameras, right? And so the photographic evidence is going to come up in the same way that people discover or rediscover in this country who remember the Boston bombing that happened with the 2 kids. They used photographic evidence by enough people, and now we have Ring doorbell cameras and other cameras, so it's not hard to put those things together to see. And traffic lights estimate the speed at which we travel, right? Thank you, Garrett A. Morgan, for inventing the traffic light, right? So we understand that the evidence, and then when it comes out, nothing. But for a whole few months, you're calling them liars. Oh, they're liars. And I'm like, yeah, the truth will out. Give it enough time, the truth will out. So, who ends up being the liar? How many times have they been credibly accused of being liars? I can't think of one. And I see them being, allegedly cannibalized in the media every day for their sins of living and breathing and raising children and daring to move out of a country where their partner, their wife, is suicidal. is dealing with suicidal ideation. How would Harry recover if he lost the two most significant figures in his life? The two most significant women in his life, his mother and his wife. Where would he be? And if something happened with him, something happened with her, we're going to have other tragedies, because that's what happens when people see a tragedy. There is an effect that happens. How do we continue to protect her? Because she is the best of us. We see that. We don't love her for existing. Those of us who saw her targeted in the media, right? We saw her targeted in the media and we decided, like, okay, who gonna check me, boo? I'm gonna check you, right? I'm gonna be, and back when I was on Twitter, I was out there in them Twitter streets clapping back in an unhealthy way for hours. Like, I would wake up, first thing I would do, let me get on Twitter, right? To clap back at these trolls. And it wasn't healthy, but I was doing it, and there were not a lot of other people out there doing it. It was the usual suspects. It was the same people over and over that I had to clap back against in 2016, 17, 18, until Elon Musk bought the Twitter and started calling it X. And I'm like, nope, I'm out of here. I cannot be on a platform that is owned by Elon Musk because I don't trust him. I don't think he's a good person. So, I was out of there, gave up everything that I had built in that space. I think all the tweets probably went away, and I got trolled. I got trolled so badly. I think people left me alone. I had one kind of famous follower, so people believed that I was a person, but I didn't actively seek that. My sole purpose for being on Twitter became clapping back at all the trolls. And when he bought it and turned it into X, I'm like, nope, can't be on here. And so, I started doing other things, right? Like a lot of us. And so anyway, we've been on this journey because she has shown us who she is and we believe her. She is a wonderful person. She loves her mother, her husband, her children, and the things that she advocates for, I roll with. Even organic produce, I can vibe with that, right? No pesticides. They're harmful. They're hurting us. Eggs that are humanely gotten. She has her own chickens, right? Most of us know Pula, right? And so what happens when she gets a chicken? Oh, everybody, you get a chicken, you get a chicken, you get a chicken. No Lutando saying, I can't see the whole thing yet. When it comes up, I will. I tried to fix the chat today and was unable to. I don't know why it's stuck like this. Meghan and Harry's visit to South Africa was a huge success too, because this, and then the line is like, it stops. So, yeah, I remember when they were with Bishop Tutu. I was like, yes. And then, of course, there has to be some controversy in South Africa. And then that has to be cleaned up. We've got to find one person to speak against her. No matter where she goes and what she does, we're going to find one, right? We'll find one, preferably a person of her own ethnicity, ethnic background, if you will, or racial background, to speak against her. And, they get big upped. And so we had, again, that thing last week that was not only bubbled up and boiled up, we had a whole diaspora. Not even, I'm going to laugh, guys, right now, because I couldn't laugh like this, really, like that, without it being a triggering, traumatizing laugh about the diaspora wars. Man, you had whole podcasters and followers going in on each other. I was like, oh, no, we got to fix this. It was pretty scary, and I think that people have mostly come back to a kind of baseline and they're feeling better, but I'm like, dang, we were wilding out here in these streets. So we had that. We have these trolls that are constantly attacking the princess, and I'm sick of it. Like, so it's been rough. And I wouldn't trade this ride to vibe and ride with Meghan for anything. Because in discovering and in defending her, I'm able to defend and discover things about myself. I am able to learn and love and live with you guys, like the squad, and see what we are built up. People from all around the world who came together for a common purpose to defend the princess, right? And please like the chat. Please, if you guys like any part of it, or if you've listened, please, I'm telling you, I know as soon as I say this, I'm going to get 10 dislikes. I get so many dislikes in the chat from trolls, and then they wait till we go off to go off. I'm like, y'all ain't got no smoke while we on air, but you bring all the smoke, and I've got to sit there because I don't comment back because I don't have time for that. I just delete. But yeah, they come on. Like I said last night when I was closing up shop after doing the whole memorial episode, like, just no kind of moral compass that you're going to get on an episode and start talking trash after we do this whole broadcast about, someone who became an ancestor and a whole family that is out here mourning the loss of their mother. You really got something to say, but you couldn't say it to my face. You couldn't say it in front of the people who were on the pod last night. You wait until it's quiet to bring your attack. And so I'm like, no, let me just delete. I don't have time for this. And so that's what happened. I was just like, whoa. So I can see Nolotando now. Meghan and Harry's visit in South Africa was a huge success too, because this couple is truly humble and see good in everyone regardless of their skin color. Yes, snaps, Mary. Mary says she's kicked off Twitter. Really? I thought they weren't doing that. I thought that it was sort of unfiltered now. I have heard, though, if you have the wrong opinions on things, that you can get kicked off. Maybe you can join Parler. Have you heard of Parler? That is the former President Donald Trump's site. Irony intended. No, but wow, why'd you get kicked off of Twitter? Hearts to you too, Elizabeth and Jay Matt. Like, yeah, because these trolls, if you like the chat, please put a like out there. It feels good to see the numbers too. Like, okay, they like me, I think, a little bit, so it goes a long way for that too. So then I see Mary. The monarchy is globally despised and criticized daily, but sometimes squaddies, and then again, it's cut off until more comments come in. So, until squaddies amplify the negative noise about Meghan. Yes. Oh, you think that we do that? Sometimes we amplify it. Yeah, and sometimes we have to, like, maybe, and tell me if you think I'm wrong, but sometimes in order to clean up the BM, the British media, sometimes in order to clean up the BM, we've got to, like, maybe spread it around a little bit, and it's going to sink. And sometimes, we amplify these things for whatever other reasons. And sometimes we're just tired and we just want to deal with it. Because, like, for me, that's what's happening. I'm just, like, over all of, sometimes you feel overwhelmed and you just want to have a conversation with your people about all the things and how you've been feeling. Because, again, today I had a completely different podcast planned. And I just felt like I was, again, yes, under attack. Thank you, Mary. I love that one, under attack. Yes. And see, that's what I want to get to that in homework eventually. I want us to begin to be doing homework out here in these streets, because they try and amplify our princess, perhaps to keep us from amplifying what's really going on over there in those UK streets. Because it hasn't, in my mind, been dealt with effectively. Where is she? Do those kids have, and I know a lot of people have, for as many people as there's that many different perspectives. Lots of people think that she is getting a divorce. Lots of people think that she is depressed. Lots of people think that she has cancer. And lots of people think that she is no longer with us, allegedly. I happen to be, closer to the latter camp. Like, where's she at? It makes no sense that we haven't seen her, and they would put out Franken photos, and then they would say, oh, this is her skipping in the market, only to come out and say, oh, no, she's really, really sick. Then who was that skipping in the market? Drake, we're not dumb, right? Kendrick Lamar, we're not dumb. Like, we understand this is, I don't know that this has ever happened. Can you imagine the queen going through this? She is the next queen. Let's process, she's the next queen, and we ain't heard from her since potentially November of last year. And I think that AI is getting better. The fingers aren't looking as ratchet as they used to, as messed up as they used to. And if you have access to the best technology, because we all know that there was nothing blowing in that field on that ironic bench, there was nothing moving except her. And she's looking rail thin. And, so who knows? Like, I don't know where the princess is, or that princess is. I know, typically where ours is. But Mary Man, you ain't gonna take me up. You don't want to join Parlor. I think that it was supposed to have like $1 billion. It was supposed to be valued at $1 billion, and then there was a whole lot of debt. I don't know, really. I don't follow that closely. But yeah, that's another one that you probably would not get kicked off and could spew if you felt like it. But then at the same time, you would likely be attacked from lots of people who would have different viewpoints than you. So yeah, this has been a journey, right? And for good or for bad, I think that I needed personally to address a whole lot of the haters. And for me, one of the best days of this year, let's see if I can find that slide. Not that one. This is Meghan's house in Toronto. I was going to talk about that. I was going to talk about her. This was one of the best days for me this year. When Angela was on a certain show and was accused of engaging in troll-like behavior. I was like, what? He did that? Because I was assuming that the same narrative was going to happen, right? And so it came up on my timeline for a reason, and I'm like, oh, he called her, to me it read like he called her a troll. That she was trolling the Duchess. Mary said, only joined Twitter, to support Meghan. Not everything's worthy of a response. Deflection is indeed the game. I absolutely agree with all of those things that you said. Because we understand, because we've been existing in these spaces around the Duchess, and it has still been a journey that I would take. Right? And I would hope that if I were in a position like her, and I was good, and I was all of the things that she is, that people would also see me. Because in seeing her, I see myself, I see my family, I see a woman that's under constant attack for just existing. I see a woman who is being eaten, whose name makes people on a daily, I would say, millions of dollars. She's out here being one of the most, if not the most, and has been, Googled person on the planet. And name is responsible. Like, she could be in 50, 100 different articles a day. And out here in these YouTube streets, we see the negative blogs that address her. And I just can't really see I haven't seen anything that's really been worthy of real criticism that has been alleged. Most of it is just utterly false. And how many Pinocchios? Is it 3, 4, or 5? Right? Just like the story about the First Lady of Nigeria. Of course it was exaggerated, and it was intentionally put out there in the media to cause us a lot of distress. And the words were not also put together in a way that would allow for that. And so they exploited that and exploited our emotions. And now a lot of us are better. Okay, that ain't gonna happen again. That they can just come into this space and create this kind of thing. And I wanted just you guys to be on guard for trolls out here who, if you see them, who are out here in these streets just whiling, trying to make us feel a certain way. Because turnabout is fair play when it comes to these kinds of things. And I don't want to have a podcast where I am responding to the trolls. I also, though, feel like I needed to today remind them that we are out here and we are strong, we are smart, we are compassionate, we are kind, we are loving, and some days we have time. And today, I had time. So I'm going to end the podcast about here. I think I've gotten through almost all the slides. Looks like two more. So this is Polo. I was going to talk a bit more about the Netflix deal and Harry's polo. I mean, what Harry I think is going to do for the sport while he's out here looking like the most fit person out there playing polo, and he's really good at it, right? We know that. And American Riviera Orchard. I did not get one of these baskets. I think if I got one too, I would probably donate it to someone that I would think would be more worthy. Someone who's really out here doing the work, who, not that I wouldn't enjoy it, but I think, yeah, for a lot of people, this would be one of the best gifts that they could get in their lifetime, right? So you are that gift for me. You are one of the best gifts, squaddies, that I have had the privilege of engaging with. So I appreciate you. I hope you guys come back again for the next episode. And I'm going to stop here. And after I wish you all well and have a wonderful day, take care of yourself, take care of your emotions. If this becomes too much, step away from it. Do something that's going to feel good to you. And so love on your families, take care of yourselves today, and have a wonderful rest of your day, guys. Until the next time, I'm just going to say, please subscribe if you haven't. And also, if you can consider getting a membership, you can consider doing any of those other things. What really helps the channel is watching the videos, in my opinion, and for even a longer period of time. And I think commercials may have started running, so if you can stomach 5 seconds, 10 seconds of a commercial, please do that. It also helps the channel, right? And lots of people could care less about the Loch Ness princess. The invisible princess shopping with Willie looked happy. Nightly swimming, that was heavy when they talked about nightly swimming. That was scary too, right? Working hard on early projects but can't be seen. Yeah, I think people are done with that, right? Believing that the Loch Ness prince is healthy to be skipping in the farm, pictures lugging bags, photoshopping fake pics but can't make a formal public appearance. Yeah, that was really, really strange and not well done. And I think, like Kendrick said, Drake, they're not dumb. We're not dumb. We are we're taking it, we're keeping receipts, and we are also magnifying literally photographs for her safety as well as ours. Great chat. Bye guys. You too, Hen Pal. Have a great week. So I'm gonna sign off from here because I'll keep talking. So again, have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Ciao.